Good afternoon, everyone. It's afternoon here in Sweden. And also, thank you very much, Sorania, for this symposium. And thank you, Sagarika, for your bravery and for your book and your film. This is going to be, I hope it's going to be a game changer for the world or for the Scandinavian countries and the foreign children who are being taken to care in these countries. Let me introduce myself. Sorania introduced me, but I have worked with CPS cases in Sweden since 1990. I am the president of the Nordic Organization for Human Rights, and we have contact thereby to other Scandinavian countries and their cases. There are similar cases all over Scandinavia. In 2014, the Nordic Committee for Human Rights sent a petition to the European community asking them to look into the problems with the taking of children into care in Sweden and the Nordic countries. Unfortunately, the European Commission, the European Parliament did nothing. We were called to a hearing in 2016, but after that, they have done nothing. A little about myself, I work with client cases, and so far I have saved 109 children from the social services in Sweden. We meet so much ruthlessness and arrogance, and it's mostly foreign children who are being taken. Of course, they take Swedish children also, but foreign children make up the majority of the children that are being taken. And there was a case not too long ago, the Liz Idner case. Well, it was from the end of the 1990s. She was a British citizen. Her child was taken into care, and she was so distraught. She slashed her wrist and she tore off her hair. The pain was so deep. And the social workers told her that she should go to the mental hospital and they would help her. But then when she went to the mental hospital to get help, and she went back to the social services, they said, but you have been at the mental hospital. You can't get your child back. So it was, it was such a cruel situation. I tried to help her, but she never got her child back. And the problem is also that there's a collaboration between the magistrates in the administrative courts and the social services. One social worker said to me at one time that the administrative courts, they are our courts, as that means their courts. I told them, I thought that the administrative courts were part of the legal system, so they were to be fair and they should apply the rule of law like every other court. I didn't get an answer to that, but I have seen from my experience of working with CPS cases for 20 years that the administrative courts are the courts of the social services. They always get right. Marius Ricuro said that the system is biased towards the government and the social services. Yeah, that's true. It's for Sweden, Norway, Denmark, and Finland the same. And of course, England also has problems. And other countries, Belgium, Holland, Germany, you find it almost in all European countries because they tend to try to have harmonize the systems, but harmonizing the systems is not good for the population or the people involved. I can tell you about a case that I worked with, the Dominique Johansson case. This was a case where India was involved. Dominique's mother was Indian, his father Swedish. So Dominique had both Swedish and Indian citizenship. When Dominique was to start school, the parents wanted him to go to a school that was not like the Swedish school. They wanted him to go to a private school with not too many children and a different kind of pedagogy. So they decided to move back to India and put him in private school there. And the parents sold off all their property and they left to the airport. But the social workers realized that they were leaving, and she sent the message to the police, the airport police, and the parents had already checked in, their luggage was on the plane, everything. And the plane was boarded, and a police officer said he wanted to talk with Dominique. And of course, the parents descended with Dominique. So the plane left for India with their baggage and everything, and they were left. And when they got off the plane, Dominique had already disappeared. The social workers were waiting there, and they took him and went off with him. And we put up a long struggle, and we failed at every level. And even in, they made a transfer of the guardianship of Dominique to the Swedish foster parents. And he was, we had the intervention of the Indian government through the embassy, but unfortunately, Dominique being half Swedish and half Indian, they were unable to do anything. And there was a transfer of the guardianship. Dominique is now 18 years old, and he has very little contact with his parents. Their relationship was so destroyed that, and Annie, she is the shadow of the person she was before. She has lost weight, and she is so depressed. It's a wonder that she's alive. We have, I might also apologize for not being with you. I should have been there, but unfortunately I had a case in court yesterday and it was booked before, so I had to take it. I was in Stockholm, and that is the case of an African family. They came to Sweden in 2012 with 2 children, and 6 months later, the little daughter was taken because one morning when she didn't want to school, her mother was a bit brusque with her and told her, you have to go to school. But she was having problems in the class because she was the only Black child in the class. And she didn't feel comfortable. And she had one friend, but some other children told that a child not to play with her. And of course, he didn't play with her anymore. So she didn't want to go to school. And the mother brushed her simply and said, no, you have to go to school. She was a bit harsh in her tone. And the little girl cried. She went to school. Someone saw that the child had cried. And immediately from a feather, we had a whole coop of fowls. And the mother was, both parents were accused of abusing the child. And she was taken into care immediately. Both parents were prosecuted. The father was acquitted. The mother was sentenced to 6 months imprisonment and to pay a heavy fine to her daughter. But she appealed to the Svea Court of Appeal, which is one of the most eminent courts in Sweden. It's in Stockholm. She was completely exonerated, but still today, the social workers demand that the mother must admit that she ill-treated her child or she'll never get her child back. The little girl will be 18 in December of this year. That's the way the Swedish system works. That's the way the Swedish government works. And that's the way how the Swedish legal system can destroy children and families. Another case I can tell you about is the case of 3 American citizen children who were visiting in Sweden in 2018. They were left alone one day because they didn't want to accompany their stepfather into Norway. And a neighbor who had some grievances with their stepfather demanded that, or reported the children to the social services that they were alone. Those children were 8, 10, and 12, so they could take care of themselves for one day. Anyway, they were told that they would get help to get back to their father in America. But instead of taking the children to the American embassy, they were taken to the social services and they were immediately taken into care. And the family contacted me, and of course I took the case. And we had to fight for 20 months to get those children out of Sweden. And during that time, the Swedish government paid the foster carers 87,000 Swedish crowns per child and month. And in the 20 months the children were in foster care, that was a total of 4 million Swedish crowns. So there's a lot of big money in this system. And we have submitted a complaint to the European Court of Human Rights, and we are awaiting a second decision. In the first decision, we were told that we should have demanded compensation from the Swedish government. The Swedish government has changed the law that says that you are to first, when you have completed all the different stages of the procedure, all the way to the Supreme Court, you can take it to the European Court of Human Rights. That is what the European Convention states. But Sweden in 2016 passed a law saying that we have to go to the Chancellor of Justice. Now, the Chancellor of Justice is a political appointment, and the Swedish authorities decide what happens in that authority. We took it to this Chancellor of Justice, but the Chancellor of Justice refused to pay compensation to the parents. And now we have sent the case back to the European Court of Human Rights, trying to show them, and we will show them, we'll establish for them that taking complaints to the Chancellor of Justice is not the way to get to re-vindicate any human rights failures in the Swedish system. I know that you're running out of time, but this is something that Norway, Sweden, Denmark, and so many other countries in Europe are now practicing. And it's good that we have this film, Sagarika and Sorania. You have done a very good job, and keep up the good work. And I hope that we will be able to meet sometime and welcome back. And by the way, I can inform everyone that Sagarika got the Nordic Committee's honors diploma for her bravery and her accomplishments at our symposium in 2018. And no, 2021. No, sorry, 2022, that was last year. Sorry about my mixing up the dates. Well, thank you very much for having me, Sorania, and continued good luck with everything, and wishing you all the best for the rest of this symposium.